David rushed out of his house, coffee in one hand, briefcase in the other. His stress was written all over his face. As he approached his car, he noticed his elderly neighbor, Mrs. Ajayi, struggling across the street.
Welcome to my YouTube channel. Here, you'll get access to godly contents and videos. Please like this video, subscribe to this channel, and turn on the notification bell so you can get notified when I share other inspiring contents. Thank you.
In the beautiful and vibrant city of Lagos, Nigeria, there lived a young man named David. David was the kind of person who waved politely but never lingered for conversation. Always busy, always in a hurry. Life was a checklist: work, errands, personal goals. There was simply no time for detours. This is a story about him and a life-changing lesson he learned one ordinary morning. On a Monday morning, running late for a big work presentation, David rushed out of his house, coffee in one hand, briefcase in the other. His stress was written all over his face. As he approached his car, he noticed his elderly neighbor, Mrs. Ajayi, struggling across the street. She was dragging a heavy trash bag to the curb, but it tipped over and she stumbled slightly. Frustration and frailty showed on her face. David hesitated. He saw her struggle. He knew she needed help, but a thought crept into his mind. I don't have time for this. Someone else will step in. And with that, he slid into his car and drove off. But as he drove, something gnawed at his conscience. He remembered the cookies Mrs. Ajayi had brought him when he moved in. Her warm, welcoming smile. The way she always waved, even when he didn't wave back. And then, like a lightning bolt, a verse struck his memory. Love your neighbor as yourself. It was from a sermon his pastor had preached last Sunday. He couldn't ignore it. Reaching his office parking lot, David couldn't go inside. Instead, he turned the car around and went back. When he arrived, Mrs. Ajayi was sitting on her porch, defeated. David walked up with a smile and said, "Let me help you with that." Her face lit up, her relief palpable. As they talked, David learned something he hadn't known. Mrs. Ajayi had recently lost her husband and felt utterly alone. That small act of kindness, picking up a spilled trash bag, opened the door to a deeper connection. David promised to check in on her, and their newfound friendship became a blessing to them both. You see, loving your neighbor doesn't have to be grand. It's often found in the small moments, noticing, stopping, and caring. So let me ask you, who is your neighbor today, and what simple act of love might change everything?